Hello everyone, my name is Roy Jafari and I would like to welcome you to another video. This video is from the series of Crisp DM that we have started learning about this very useful framework of Crisp DM, and this is the fourth video in this series, and in this one we are going to see the relationship between business understanding and data understanding. Quickly going over what we've already learning in this video series. The first one, we basically talked about what is CRISP-DM, cross-industry standard process for data mining. We went over the framework in generality, and we also used a case study to understand it better. And then in the second one, we focused on one of the sub-stages of CRISP-DM, which is business understanding. And we use the case study to really hone in on understanding what is business understanding in CRISP-DM. In the next video, we looked at data understanding and we focused on what is exactly data understanding. If you want, go back and watch those videos and then come back here, as we're going to learn about the relationship between business understanding and data understanding. The case study we are using is credit card transaction fraud detection. So we have used this case study in all of our videos so far. And basically in this case study, we have the task of being able to say if a one transaction request, which basically you and I going to oppose in a grocery store or wherever to request buying something using our credit line. So that's a request. And we want to be able to create a system that instantaneously is going to tell us if this is fraudulent or not. And we use that based on the data that we have, right? So this is the case study. And we have been talking about CRISP-DM using this case study. In the first video, we talked about the whole CRISP-DM. In the second video, we talked about business understanding. In the second, that, the major part of business understanding, as we discussed in that video, is our capability to be able to answer these 5 questions. If you can answer 5 questions about the project of data mining or any data related projects that you have, you can say you have a pretty good business understanding. And after that, data understanding, similar to business understanding, if you're able to answer these 9 questions about the data that is required for our project, then we can assume or we can claim that we have data understanding. In this video, after the recap of what we have been going over in the previous videos, in this video, what we are going to focus on is going to be the relationship between business understanding and data understanding. And we already can see there are 2 types of interactions between these 2 sub-stages of CRISP-DM. We have influences from business understanding on the data understanding, as shown by the A arrow, and we have influences from data understanding to business understanding, as shown by the B arrow. All right, so we want to focus on these 2 to understand them better. So let's start with the A, the interactions from business understanding to data understanding. So how is that related? So if we focus on the question 1 and question 9 of data understanding, which are basically these 2 questions: what are possible sources of data useful for this case study, and how each source of data could be useful, right? There is no way we can answer these 2 questions without having understood the business problem, without having a complete business understanding. There is no way we can be good at, or we can come up with a possible list of data sources that is comprehensive and is going to help us carry the project forward. If we have a sort of non-complete or wrong business understanding, the list of data sources we come up with is going to be wrong and incomplete. Not only that, we will also have a wrong idea or incomplete idea of how each of these data sources are going to be useful, right? And we can already see this relationship between business understanding and data understanding. Without business understanding, your data understanding is going to be isolated up in the air. You don't know what are the sources of data, and if you have been given some source of data as suggestion, you won't know exactly how that source of data is going to be useful, right? So that's the relationship between business understanding and data understanding. And after that, we will talk about data understanding, how it's going to sort of like loop back to help business understanding, right? So I can give you as vague of an answer as data understanding. Once you understand the data that comes from a business, you're going to understand the business better, right? So that's true generally. And what happens basically is, as you spend time understanding the data that is related to a business, you start appreciating and developing more nuanced understanding of the business and the business problem as well, right? So this relationship is real. Once we work with the data understanding, it helps it. So what I'm going to do, however, here, I'm going to talk about one example of such cases, right? So let's say, we have an incomplete understanding of our business understanding, right? So let's say we think that the only thing that we are trying to avoid is that we never want to allow a fraudulent transaction happen. We assume that this is the only thing that matters for our system. We never want to allow a fraudulent transaction to happen, right? So we, have developed this level of sophistication for our business understanding. And then we come to our data understanding. And as a part of understanding our data, for instance, the transaction request database, we notice that there are some customers that, after a while, they have stopped using their credit cards, right? If the credit cards are not used as often as it used to, we are not going to be, as a credit card company, we're not going to be benefited as much, right? So after looking at the data a little bit closer, we then realize that, these customers who stop using, they've had a lot of rejected transactions, and the customers have become upset that, everywhere they go, cards get rejected. So they have stopped using the cards, right? So by looking at data and seeing this, we now see, okay, the fact the only thing that matters for this system is not just making sure, fraudulent request never happens. We also want to make sure that, the okay request, not fraudulent request, gets through, right? So we develop this appreciation that we need a balance between false negative and false positive, right? So this data understanding level helps us to understand that better, so we can switch back to business understanding, develop that, and then it will allow us to even be better in data understanding. Maybe we can now think about more possible data sources that can help this, right? So of course we are seeing this relationship. We go from business understanding and data understanding. A lot of this back and forth just happens in your brain, right? It happens in your mind. You don't have to really go and come back. It happens kind of right there. But for us to understand this dynamic, that's why we have put it in this framework. A quick summary. In this video, we just focused on these two arrows, A and B, the interaction between data understanding and business understanding. And in the next video, what we are going to focus on, we're going to focus on data preparation. The next video is going to be much longer than this one. This was a rather short video, and data preparation, a very large topic. We're going to discuss that in the next video. I hope you will watch that one as well. Until then.